Welcome back to Birds of a Feather. This is your daily Baltimore sports podcast. My name is Nathan Stroud, and today we're going to be going over the Orioles and Astros Game 4 of this four-game series, where thankfully the Orioles were able to avoid the four-game sweep. They lost the first three games of the series. They lost on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. But today, on Sunday, they were able to avoid the four-game sweep. They were able to go out there and get a close 3-2 win over the Astros. It was a very tight game, very low-scoring game. But a big reason why it was a low-scoring game is because of who was pitching for the Baltimore Orioles. And, of course, that was Mr. Ace himself, Trevor Rogers, who just continues to have such a dominant year on the mound for the Orioles. He once again goes out there today, gets through 7 innings, has 9 strikeouts, and only gives up 1 run across those 7 innings. Near the beginning of the game, like in the second, third, fourth inning, it didn't really look like he, was as sharp as he usually was. And still, as a whole, he wasn't as sharp as he's been throughout this year, just in terms of the stuff that he had going. So earlier on in this game, he did deal with some traffic. I think he gave up like 5 hits and he had 3 walks. So he did deal with some traffic in this game, but he was able to get out of it. He was still able to go 7 innings, and he only gave up 1 run. And that right there is what great pitchers do. The thing that separates great starting pitchers from good starting pitchers is how you deal with traffic on a consistent basis. And Trevor Rogers, for the most part this season, necessarily really hasn't gone through a ton of traffic, but because usually when Trevor Rogers is out there, he's just like untouchable. And today, the Astros were getting on base, but they did not. They were not able to bring in as many runs as they wanted. They were able to score only 1 run. But overall, it was a fantastic day for Trevor Rogers. And the offense for the Orioles wasn't necessarily amazing, but it was enough to get the win thanks to the pitching in this game. Trevor Rogers only allowed 1 run through 7 innings, and then we put in Ricky Garcia. All of a sudden, the bases were loaded, and it was looking a little scary. Our bullpen did give up 1 run, but Keegan Aiken was able to go out there and get the 3-out save in the 9th inning. So shout out to Keegan Aiken, and shout out again to Trevor Rogers. He's been incredible all year. Over 13 starts, a 1.40 ERA in 13 starts. Absolutely unheard of. It's historical from an Orioles standpoint that we'll go over in a second. But the offense for the Orioles wasn't anything too crazy today. Only 3 runs scored today. Got on base, a few times. Spencer Arrighetti, who was the pitcher for the Astros, he did very well in this game. But Luis Vazquez hit his first major league home run in today's game. Samuel Basallo had a base hit, and Dylan Beavers did not get a hit today. Today was by far Dylan Beavers' worst performance or worst game of his very short MLB career so far, which is fine. Again, 0 for 4s in games where you don't get on base, that's going to happen. I'm not sitting here saying like I expect him to get on base every single game. But again, Samuel Basallo gets a hit today. Colton Cowser is leading off in today's game because Jackson Holliday did get the day off. But overall, very solid game for the Orioles offense. Only 3 runs scored, but again, it was enough thanks to the pitching. And let's just get right into this Orioles game. So going over this Orioles and Astros game, again, the Orioles win 3-2 over the Astros. The Orioles record now moves to 60-70 on the year, a 10-game difference between, 10 games below 500. The Orioles get their 60th win of the year. Colton Cowser, again, he was leading off. He went 1 for 4 in this game with 2 strikeouts. Overall, the Orioles hitting, again, 8 total hits for the Orioles, 8 total hits for the Astros. The Orioles were able to just have the more impactful hits in this game, and obviously the starting pitching difference was in Baltimore's favor here, even though Spencer Arrighetti had a really good game as well. But the Orioles were 1 for 3 with runners in scoring position, left 4 guys on base, so there wasn't a ton of base runners in scoring position for the Orioles, but they still were able to pull out the win. Big thanks to the pitching, obviously. But Colton Cowser was leading off. He went 1 for 4 with 2 strikeouts. Jeremiah Jackson went 1 for 4 in this game. He continues to just rack up hits. Gunnar Henderson was one of 2 players in this game with multiple hits, and Gunnar actually had a solo home run in the first inning. So Gunnar Henderson team-leading 16th home run. He pretty much leads the Orioles in every offensive category, but Gunnar Henderson goes 2 for 4 with 2 runs scored and a solo home run. So again, responsible for 1 of the 3 runs scored. He also scored 2 runs himself. So shout out to Gunnar Henderson for just being Gunnar Henderson, being the player that we know and love, and being the leader of this team, and again, being the superstar of this city, alongside obviously Lamar Jackson. But obviously there's a difference in records that's going to happen, but just that's another conversation. But Gunnar Henderson, 2 for 4 in this game with a solo home run. Ryan Mountcastle was the other Oriole in this game with 2 hits. He went 2 for 4 with an RBI. So Gunnar and Ryan Mountcastle responsible for bringing in 2 of the 3 runs. The 4 and 5 hitters doing their thing. Samuel Basayo, the 3 and 4 hitters between Gunnar and Ryan. And then Samuel Basayo in this game went 1 for 2 with a walk. So Basayo only had 3 at-bats in this game. Again, it was a very slow game overall, but Samuel Basayo goes 1 for 2 with a walk in this game. His average is at a 261. Very solid. Basayo did his thing, got a hit in his first at-bat, and then flied out in his second at-bat, and then got a walk in his third. So Basayo reached base twice. He also drew the only walk of the game for the Orioles. Basayo did. Dylan Beavers went 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts. This is the first game since he's been called up last week where he has not gone on base for the Orioles. He's played every single day. Obviously, he got called up last Saturday, and he's been on base every single day for the Orioles. Obviously, he still has a super high batting average. He went 0 for 3 today with 2 strikeouts, but he still is at a 296 batting average. Austin Jackson in this game went 0 for 3. He was catching today. Basayo was DHing. Machine went 0 for 3, and then Luis Vazquez went 1 for 3 with a solo home run, and it was also his first home run of his major league career. So the Luis Vazquez home run, the Ryan Mountcastle RBI, and the Gunnar Henderson solo home run was all of the runs scored by the Orioles today. We scored in the first, we scored in the 6th, and the 7th. And again, it was enough to go get the win. Only 3 runs scored, but it was enough to go and win the game. Big thanks to the pitching today. Trevor Rogers, 7 innings, 5 hits, 3 walks, 1 run, and 9 strikeouts across 7 innings. 93 pitch count, a 1.40 ERA. Going into today, it was a 1.41. Now it's a 1.40. It went down by 0.01. So you'll take that at the end of the day. The fact that it's even going down at all from what it's already at, because it's already at like the lowest it could be, and the fact that it's going down is just a true testament to how amazing he's been this year. Rico Garcia comes into the game. 0.1 innings, gives up 3 hits and a run, and then Keegan Aiken, 1.2 innings, no hits, no runs, no walks, and 3 strikeouts. So an excellent outing today for Keegan Aiken, who gets the save in this 1-run game. But overall, very good win for the Orioles. Obviously, the series, the 2 different series that the Astros had. Obviously, look back to the series last week where the Orioles took 2 out of 3 in Houston, and in the 2 wins that the Orioles had, they actually shut out the Astros. And then you go and look at this series against Houston. Houston won the first game 7-2, won the second game 10-7, won the third game 9-8, and then the Orioles win today 3-2. But in the past 3 games, the offense for the Astros was electric. Today, obviously, they were cooled down because of Trevor Rogers. And did a great job at doing that, by the way, as well. But the Orioles did get their 60th win. They still do lose this series 3-1, but they did avoid getting swept, which, at least from an embarrassment standpoint, is good. But going over to the new series that is starting tomorrow, it is against the Boston Red Sox. And if you do realize, we just played the Astros for 4 straight games. We played the Red Sox for 2 games last week, and then we played the Astros again for 3 games before that. And now we're playing the Red Sox on a 4-game series starting tomorrow, going through Thursday. So we're playing like the same 2 teams for like 2 weeks straight. Very weird how the scheduling kind of ended up that way. But we are playing the Red Sox again. This time it is a 4-game series that is going to be all in Baltimore. The Red Sox don't have their pitcher decided for tomorrow, but for the Orioles, it is going to be Tomoyuki Sugano in Game 1 of the series. And again, with 4-game series, at least at this point in the year, you would like to, minimum Worst case scenario, split the series 2-2. But obviously, best case scenario would be to win the series 3-1 or obviously sweep. So hopefully the Orioles can go out and do that. Tomoyuki Sagano pitching tomorrow for the Orioles. He has been incredible over his last few starts, and hopefully he can keep that up tomorrow. He also has the most wins of any Orioles pitcher this year. 10-5 record, which is very impressive. Below a 4 ERA. He's been very solid this year for the Orioles. He started off amazing, then he went through a little bit of a rough patch, but he's been very solid here recently, so hopefully he can keep that up going into tomorrow's game. But another thing that I wanted to show you guys in today's episode was just Trevor Rogers. And again, this is a baseball account on Twitter named Just Baseball, and he posted 7 innings, 5 hits, 1 run, 3 walks, 9 strikeouts. He's the first Orioles pitcher in history to allow 2 runs or fewer in 11 straight starts. He's putting up absolute historic numbers for the Orioles this year. And again, there is a little over a month left in the season. The season ends at the end of September. We can actually go check real quick when the Orioles season actually officially ends. And while we're at it, we can just go look at the rest of the schedule, to be honest with you. So, as you can see, we are down to the end of the year, really like the last month of the season. The last game that the Orioles play this season is on September 28th against the Yankees in New York. That is the last game of the season. So we have about a month and 4 days left of this season. We have a 4-game series against the Red Sox in Baltimore, and then we go on the road for 6 games, where we play in San Francisco for 3 games. And that's actually going to be this upcoming weekend. Obviously today is Sunday, but this upcoming weekend after the Boston series, we're going to San Francisco for 3 games, and then we play 3 games in San Diego. Go and visit our old friends in Ramon Laureano and Ryan O'Hearn. So that's going to be really cool to go out there and see those guys again. Obviously, the 2 biggest names that we traded at the deadline were those 2 guys, and they've been killing it over in San Diego, and you really got to root for those guys. And once we get to the playoffs, San Diego and probably the Mets because of Cedric Mullins, but those are going to be 2 teams that I'm really going to be rooting for, because you want to see your guys go out and win and have success wherever they go, especially guys like Ramon Laureano and Ryan O'Hearn, who made such a big impact on the team this year. But again, we have a 4-game series against Boston in Baltimore. Then we go on the road for a 6-game road trip against San Francisco and San Diego. Then we're back home for 6 games against the Dodgers and the Pirates. Then we're on the road again for 6 games in Toronto and the White Sox. And then we're back home for, 7 games against the Yankees for 4 and the Rays for 3. And then the final series of the year is going to be in New York against the Yankees, the 26th, 27th, and 28th of September. So again, a little over a month left of the season. We're really down to the final little ride here. How many more series left is that going to be? It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 more series left this year. We're down to the final 10 series of the year. It's going to be interesting. Let's see how the Orioles close this off. And if they can win 7 out of these next 10 series to close out the year, or even 6 of the 10, just go into this offseason with some sort of momentum, go into next season with some sort of momentum, because obviously the momentum from last year 100% carried over to this year. Well, there really wasn't any momentum last year. That's what I'm trying to say is the Orioles obviously had a really bad second half last year, and it kind of carried into this year, and obviously it was a disaster. So hopefully the Orioles can go out there and just show some promising baseball to close out this season. Obviously, the big names that we're watching for the rest of this year, obviously you have the Gunners and the Jackson Holidays that we already know are going to be contributors down the line. But you have guys like Trevor Rogers, who you're going to continue to watch and hope that he can continue to be great. You have Kobe Mayo, who you want to see if he can continue to get his reps at first base and continue to play well. And then obviously you have Beavers and Basayo, who are 2 guys you're going to be watching as well. So just watching the young player development, watching everything going into next season, going into this offseason. But another thing that did happen this morning regarding the offseason is Bob Nightingale, who is a MLB analyst, someone who breaks a lot of news going on in the MLB space. He believes that Adley Rutschman is going to be the biggest name available on the trade block this upcoming offseason and this winter. we'll see what happens with that. I would not be surprised if we trade Adley Rutschman. It would really suck. It would really hurt because, again, Adley was kind of the guy that started this entire thing. But to see him go would really suck and be sad. But at the end of the day, that might be the best decision that the Orioles can make because, again, once his contract is up, he's going to leave the Orioles because, again, we have shown our priority. We have prioritized Samuel Basallo over him. Obviously, Basallo signed an 8-year deal. I'm sure Adley feels some type of way about it, even though he says that he's happy for him. I'm sure that deep down he does feel some type of way about that extension. And again, him leaving is the least surprising thing in the world, or him planning on leaving would be the least surprising thing in the world. But Adley Rutschman still has a lot of value. There's team, and again, Adley over the past calendar year, ever since July of last year, he just has not been the same player offensively. And you thought it was just a little bit of a slump, but it's just kind of become a regular now for him. And again, we know what Adley Rutschman is capable of. We've seen it in his first few years in the league. And there are going to be teams out there that think that they can fix him. So he's going to have value. He's still young. He's going to have value. He's still a great defensive catcher. So the Orioles would still be able to get a lot for him. But when the day comes, we're going to have to move on from Adley because I'm sure that's what's going to be ended up happening. It's just really going to suck and it's going to hurt a little bit. But again, thank you guys so much for listening and tuning into this episode of Birds of a Feather. If you like this content, make sure to subscribe on YouTube, follow up on Spotify, make sure to like the video on YouTube as well. Also make sure to follow the Twitter and the Instagram. Just click the link in the bio of whatever platform you're listening on. Make sure to give those a follow. And yeah, Orioles get a big win today, 3-2, close win. Trevor Rogers continues to just absolutely dominate this year and just prove why he's the ace of this team. But also some good news is that Kyle Bradish is on pace to return this Tuesday. The other ace of this team, the other guy that we loved, obviously he's back for the first time since his Tommy John surgery last year. So it's going to be so exciting to see him back in Baltimore making his debut. It's going to be at home in Baltimore. Cannot wait to see Bradish back in this rotation, man. He really is the best pitcher on this team. Obviously, Rogers is now really challenging him for that role. But going into next year, it's going to be so amazing to see both of them side by side, potentially co-aces this next season. So hopefully Bradish goes out there, puts on a show. But we'll talk more about that tomorrow. But yeah, I appreciate you guys so much. I appreciate all the support. Thank you guys again for everything. I'll see you guys tomorrow. You have a great Sales Day. Go O's, go Ravens, and I'll see y'all later. Peace out.